Hello and welcome to the Global Dialogue. I'm Shireen Pan. What began as an idea at the World Economic Forum 25 years ago has grown into a global vaccine alliance. Joining me now to talk about the future of Gavi is the chair of the board of Gavi, also the former Prime Minister of Portugal and the President of the European Commission, Mr. Barroso. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18. It's wonderful to have you with us on the program. Let's talk about the last 25 years before we talk about the next 25. A lot has been accomplished in terms of global health outcomes. As you sit here today and you look at this uncertain, very volatile world, perhaps a world in uncharted waters in many ways, what gives you hope, what gives you confidence, and what makes you very afraid?
Yeah. First of all, Shirin, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great opportunity to be here and to have the possibility to speak, to send my message to the Indian public, India being such an important partner of Gavi. What gives me confidence? Precisely our track record. Gavi has been a great global player on public health. It's one of the organizations that has the best reputation because people know that the dollars invested there brings real benefits. It's saving the lives of children. And I don't think there can be something more important in the world than saving the lives of millions of children. Mm-hmm. So our mission is itself the best argument we have, but also the way we have been doing it over 25 years. It's, I would say, consensus now that it's very effective, it's very efficient. For every dollar invested, you can get not only results in terms of public health, and that results saving lives of children, but also economic impact, because it's a way also of reinforcing the public health systems, to have a working force, to have a more adaptable, more healthy, to have a better society. So we have a great track record, and I think nobody disputes that. That is, today, I say, a matter of convergence. So we believe we have a great case. And that's why, even if, agreeing with you, we are living very challenging times from different points of view, I believe that when it comes to something that is a global public good, like public health, like immunization, there should be an agreement among the powers of the world, the richest but not the so richest countries, that they should continue to commit. If possible, they should reinforce the commitment for that great cause. It is vaccination, namely of the most vulnerable communities across the world.
You know, Mr. Barroso, you said that there should be agreement, there should be convergence, whether rich or poor countries to actually come together to take alliances like Gavi forward and, reinforce their commitments. Speaking of commitments, Gavi is coming up for its replenishment. You require $9 billion at this point in time. My last conversation with Bill Gates at the Goalkeepers event in New York, he said he was a spokesperson and a salesperson for Gavi. He said it would be criminal if the world couldn't get the funds together. Do you worry about being able to get the funds together to fund Gavi in its 25th year?
First of all, let me say that Bill Gates is more than a salesman. He has been a great contributor. As you know, he's on record saying that the best investment he ever made, his foundation made, was and is Gavi. And to have someone like him, with the great success he had, saying that is also the best possible endorsement we have of Gavi. Yes, I'm not denying that there are some challenges, but I believe the case is very strong, and I believe that we should continue that goal. I know it's an ambitious goal given the current circumstances, but it's a goal that makes sense because from our perspective, because with that we will be able to double the pace of vaccination. We'll be able to vaccinate 500 more children in the next period. So next 5 years, more. 500 million more. Yes. I'm sorry, 500 million more. So it makes sense. So we are going to argue about this case. Yes, I've been doing that. I've been asking both the richest country in the world, emerging economies, and also one interesting thing is that Gavi, even the countries that are less rich, they contribute. So the idea is not to have them dependent forever. On the contrary, the idea is that they will contribute gradually, and that's an important model that we have at Gavi. And the donors like this. The idea is not to have forever dependency. Yes. So the countries, they start contributing, and one day they come from recipient to donor. Just to give an example, recently I was in Indonesia. I was with the president of Indonesia, and Indonesia until now has been being a net recipient of Gavi support, but for the first time they announced $30 million US, a contribution among others. So, and the president of the Republic, in an improvised press conference with myself, he announced that contribution. And so this is important because we want everybody to contribute, because once again it's a public good. As I always say, a virus does not need a visa to travel. So, and we may have a new pandemic. It's almost sure we are going to have new pandemics. We don't know how and when, but they will appear. So I like next time the world has a big pandemic like the terrible COVID-19, that we are better prepared, that we have funds so that we can immediately act for the most vulnerable countries. So I think the case is very, very strong, and I hope that at the end of the day, the donors, the traditional donors, G7 countries and others, but also new donors, will say, present, we are here. We believe that's an important responsibility that we also have.
But do you still feel confident about the U.S. continuing to be a donor, given the fact that President Trump has decided to retreat from multilateral institutions, whether it's the WHO or, in fact, disband U.S. aid, which has been providing developmental aid across the world, including in sectors like health?
Look, until now, the moment we are speaking, we have not received any negative reference to Gavi from the new administration. And the last time we got the interaction with the United States, the previous Trump administration, in fact, it was a bipartisan support to Gavi. It was a very generous support to Gavi because it was during COVID in the transition from the Trump to the Biden administration. So I hope that the same commitment will last. At least I think we have very strong arguments, and we have in the United States people that understand that on both sides of the Congress.
Let's talk a little bit about India and Gavi and India's role and relevance for Gavi's future in the next 25 years as you see them. You've just met with the Health Minister, J.P. Nadda. India's also seen its transition from, being a recipient to now also being a donor, as well as home to a significant manufacturer, Serum Institute, and many others. What's the role that you see India play as far as the next 25 years for Gavi is concerned?
So I'm delighted that you mentioned that meeting with Minister J.P. Nadda, because in fact it was a great meeting. I was very happy to see how committed the minister, on behalf of the government of India, is to the mission of Gavi. And in fact, he promised support. I'm not going to now enter in details, but he promised that India will say present about the support to Gavi. India is a great partner. It's one of the most important partners of Gavi. First of all, because of the huge dimension of the country. We cannot reach the goals of vaccinating the world's children without India being part of it. And India has been increasing a lot its own domestic action for vaccination. Today I visited one of the most important hospitals here.
The Safdarjung Hospital.
Exactly, here in Delhi. And I was impressed to see the modernization of the platforms, digital platforms, including the more modern in the world now, that gives you a instantaneous record of what's going on, vaccinating the children and also some pregnant women in real time, all over the country. That's amazing. So, and this is something that also India can contribute to the rest of the world. Not only the global south, not only south-south certainly, right, but also some of the most developed countries in the world can benefit from the know-how that we find here in India. So by the huge impact that India has, it's already a great contribution. You mentioned also, because of the manufacturing capabilities, the country where we buy more vaccines is India. We estimate it around 60%. And we buy it here, why? Because it's good, so quality and cost benefit. So that's also a contribution that we very much appreciate. At the same time, let's be frank, that's also very good for the Indian economy, for the Indian technology, for the Indian brand, I would say, in this world. And of course, we would like now to have India to contribute financially, according to its dimension and according to, of course, to its commitment. I think that's a great time for India to show leadership. India has shown that leadership, for instance, during G20, we are very grateful because during G20 it was immediately, we are seeing still the effects of COVID. It was important that the political leaders of the world did not forget about public health.
Yes.
Let me be a little bit, as a former politician, I can say it. Sometimes the attention span of political leaders is very short.
Yes.
People care when things are in the news, but afterwards they don't care so much. I say that as a former politician. But it was great that India said, no, let's keep the attention for the future, because some more pandemics may come. They will certainly come. So let's continue to give a high priority to the issue of pandemic preparedness. And so we are grateful for the great cooperation that we had, Gavi, with India. So that was the message I conveyed to the minister and to the government of India. I also invited the government to be present in our replenishment. And so I got a very positive feedback. So I hope that India will use this opportunity, not only for what has been doing domestically. For instance, that was great progress, I think, in terms of reduction of so-called zero-dose children. There was very important reduction of children that have never been vaccinated. So many lives that have been saved. So avoiding through vaccination diseases that are preventable. But also now India, the minister confirmed to me that it's going to launch HPV vaccination, important for girls, for women and for girls, already this next month of May, something where we are also partnering. So Gavi has been a great partner of India as well. We have been supporting India massively, and I think now we can even have a stronger partnership for the future, not only in financial terms, which is of course important, but also in terms of leadership, the ideas, the innovation. India can be a hub also of innovation, manufacturing innovation, and also a good example. In fact, we see, to be honest, we see India as a model in our relationship to countries that are transitioning, if I may use the word, transitioning from just developing countries to implementing countries to donor countries, countries that are contributing to the rest of the world.
So have you managed to get a commitment from the minister before you leave India?
Yeah, commitment of good intention and support, yes, but we are not going to the details of the precise contribution. But yes, the intentions are there, and I fully trust that it's a real goodwill we can see here in India towards Gavi.
Well, we are going to take a break here on the Global Dialogue and return to our conversation with the Global Chief of Gavi to talk about the road ahead for the Vaccine Alliance over the next 25 years.